The Pepsi paradox goes like this. In a blind taste test between Pepsi and Coke, people would more often choose Pepsi. But in a non-blind test, people would choose Coca-Cola. Why is that? What we do know, and marketing experts know, is that we taste stuff with our eyes. And not just that, we buy stuff based on preconceptions. We buy stuff based on what the thing means to us. So what does Coca-Cola mean to people? Holidays, joy, somehow simultaneously Christmas and the summertime. It represents moments. This is a moment. What does this represent? For the record, I'd choose Pepsi. So what's this got to do with Fender? Well, Fender is the Coca-Cola of the guitar world. Where Coca-Cola represent joy and family and so on, a moment, Fender, I'd argue, represent a moment in music, a moment in history. Somehow they represent the retro, the space age, when they were born, and the new. They are surf, they are technology, they are fast cars, and the space race. We think of both simple design and the height of quality. As a guitar player, are you still happy with Fender? Have you talked, like many people have done, about not buying a Fender anymore, not buying anything from Fender, or are you not bothered at all? What interests me the most in this is this question. Is Fender's cultural identity so big that it doesn't matter if you boycott them anyway? Or conversely, even if they win in court, do you feel like they would still lose overall? The average person on the street probably doesn't know that Fender is suing anybody, but they aren't the people spending money with Fender. So let's think about those t-shirts. I was away on holiday last week, the quintessential British holiday. And along the prom, I saw 5 people wearing 5 different Fender t-shirts. Just from memory, I've tried to find a picture of all 5 of them. And what do you notice about these t-shirts in particular? First of all, you can buy them from a supermarket. I've seen a good few times in the likes of Asda, Fender t-shirts. I've never seen any other guitar brand in a supermarket. Fender means something culturally. If you look at those t-shirts, they still mean summertime, surf rock, vintage, and they perfectly match with the t-shirts, the VW van, the surfboard, the old radio. Fender can fit in that aesthetic. They can fit within that culture. Maybe it's actually more telling to look at other brands. If we look at Gibson, most of their t-shirts just say Gibson on it. PRS, it's the same. Where they represent something very significant to the guitar community, they don't have Fender's hold on the general population. So how have they achieved cultural relevance? It's copying. Let's have some fun looking at some Fender adverts from back in the day. We're going to start with this one, which is from my dad's Melody Maker, 1977. So we have £5,000 worth of superb Fender instruments to be won. And interestingly, we also have, as part of the prize, Fender branded bag. So they've always been very good at their branding. Incidentally, as I was looking through these Melody Makers, I found a quite R-rated Andertons advert. So I can't show it here. I have to blur the entire thing out. It's fabulous, let's put it that way. If you want me to send it to you, Andertons, then let me know or something. So I found these vintage adverts from the 1960s. I'll leave the website below. And these are from the early 1960s, 1964 and onwards. They're already mentioning being copied. The idea being there may be many copiers, but we are the real thing. Hagstrom made this guitar, which I think is just fabulous. It's fantastic. I mean, it's Strat-ish. As far as I can tell, in reading about this, they didn't sue Hagstrom. And looking at this Tesco, I'm not sure how to say it, from 1960, it's a Japanese model, but again, doesn't fully look fully Stratish, but I can definitely see why they went after the headstocks. Overall, we can see in a lot of their adverts from back at the time that they were using the idea of copying as their selling point. But they were also creating this image. They paired their guitars with cool cars, with somebody surfing, which is my favourite one, somebody skydiving. They weren't just a guitar. They're not just selling you a guitar. They're selling you a moment. They're selling you an image. You are cool because you also drive this cool car. And as we know, the colours of a lot of the Fender instruments are based on colours from cars. But this is the most important thing for me. They sold their brand based on being copied. So you get this Fender paradox that they now need to deal with. They've established themselves because people wanted to copy them. If they hadn't allowed these companies to copy them, they wouldn't have become ubiquitous, synonymous with the electric guitar itself. If they'd have flattened out and crushed all competition entirely, you don't get the same status as being synonymous with the electric guitar in its entirety. So for a long time, the model is, this is the real thing, these aren't the real thing. You might start off on a cheap copy, but we know that you understand that Fender is the luxury and you aim towards that. Gibson is the same. Two companies really that can't change their model and have tried to change their model in the past, but it's not what people want. Robo-tuners don't belong in a Les Paul because people want a vintage Les Paul. They wanted the thing they looked at in a guitar magazine as they were growing up and said, wow, I want that exact thing. It only becomes a problem when these guitar manufacturers start to get pretty good at making competitive guitars of a quality that starts to rival Fender. So in the 1970s, particularly, Japanese manufacturers begin to, and are still well known for, being fantastic quality instruments. And in that, they're undermining the whole model. Is Fender any longer the top of the pile? If these companies can prove that they are just as good at a better price, then the system falls to bits. So how did Fender deal with this? They dealt with it by absorbing the competition. They established in 1982 Fender Japan. Instead of attempting to get rid of the competition, you absorb the competition. You work with the people who are doing good work. So they did it again in the 1980s with Charvel and Jackson, both starting as mod shops. This Charvel is called a Pro Mod, the Floyd Rose, different kinds of pickups and so on. I bought this one because of the kind of shreddy ridiculousness of the whole thing. It had to be a ridiculous colour. I probably wouldn't have bought a Fender in slime green. So they're able to own the idea of retro rock and roll and, in the 1980s, super modern, shreddy stuff a la Yngwie Malmsteen. So it's this kind of perfect road from Ritchie Blackmore, who Malmsteen loved, all the way up to Malmsteen and a whole slew of Whitley players. So are Fender too big to lose? Are they so culturally relevant to the everyday person that even if they sued every single company on earth, it doesn't make an impact on sales because the types of people that are buying a Fender guitar, they don't really care. Fender have done well to corner the new player market, the beginner. They've got a Fender program that brings beginners into playing. The Fender Bullet, Squire, they've got good reputations and they're going to be at the top of the list a lot of the time when people are recommending a first guitar for somebody? And does that person even know that Fender's suing somebody, and do they care either way? All the people wearing the Fender t-shirts could be the same. They bought it because of the aesthetic, but they might not even play the guitar. They might not even know much about Fender. They bought it because it just has a nice design on it, which is absolutely something people do. I've worn, skating t-shirts, and I don't do any skating. Are they going to lose in the long run because the people that love Fender, and you might be one of them, feel like they're kind of being let down by the actions of such a big company? Now they're being undermined in a similar way as they were in the 80s. They're no longer able to absorb or work with these different companies. There's just tons of them. My other Fender style shape is a Harley Benton, and that is a £150 guitar. The pickups are not the same quality, but the guitar itself, playing wise, is quite incredible for £150. How do you beat that? Do you think Fender are too big to actually lose? Even if they win in court, do they still lose overall culturally? Do they still lose out on people who loved the brand? Or are they so synonymous with guitar that it doesn't actually matter whether they win or lose? They just need to undermine the competition enough, and they know, crucially, that they don't even need to fully take these companies to task, because a lot of the companies they're going after, with exception to PRS probably, are not able to fight back because of the amount of legal costs it's going to take to actually do so. And if you imagine you yourself have a guitar company that makes a S-style shape, what's the first thing you're going to do? Are you going to fight back, or are you going to start doing something different? And I think that's what a lot of guitar companies are doing. I'm seeing the first few articles come out about guitar companies that have very quickly decided to just diversify. They're going to just change, adjust it in some way, so it's similar, but it's no longer clearly a Stratocaster shape. Now, has Coca-Cola ever had to fight against another brand that did a very similar thing to them? And there are other brands, such as Pepsi, that have done something very similar to them. Anyway, are you bothered about what Fender are doing? Has it put you off? Are you going to buy another Fender guitar? Do you think boycotting Fender is going to make a single bit of difference? And would you do it anyway? Do you own an S-style guitar or any other Fender-ish guitar? And how does it match up with the real thing? My links are down here if you want guitar lessons. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!